Hello everyone, I'm Zuzu and I'm working as a community manager for Tailwind, and today joining me we have Efio that is an actual magician. His job description is actually the programmer, but like he might be an actual magician.
Theo, hello. Thank you very much for
Hello.
joining us today.
No problem. Can I please have my official title changed to magician? I'd much prefer that.
Oh, we'll definitely have to speak to Mike about it afterwards. But yeah, I have a bit of a challenge for you at first. Could you please describe yourself in like 3 words?
Oh no. Okay, the dreaded interview question. Describe yourself in 3 words. All right. I am creative / mad would be the first one. Emphasis on mad. So I don't think you could be one without the other. Okay. I think I'm quite proactive a person. I like to jump straight into things. Kind of most of my life, I like to kind of get involved and make things, and yeah, with whatever it is. I used to really be into film, and that was all I did all the time, and I annoyed my parents and stuff. And now it's programming. Okay, and third one, I'd say I'm gonna go with like passionate. Like that's just like a normal interview one. But yeah, I think I'm passionate because I take pride kind of in my work and like trying new things and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Sophia, what do you do in Tailwind? I mentioned that you're a magician, but like how did you come to be a magician, aka programmer at Tailwind?
Yeah, so I've been working on Roblox for the last 5 or so years. I started doing commission stuff. It started as a way that a lot of the things I was interested in. I was interested in film. I was interested in making video games, but there was such kind of a lot of hurdles age-wise in place, and it's really hard to get into stuff like Unity and Unreal at a young age. But Roblox kind of jumps at you, and it's free, and anyone can do it. And there's just no kind of bars to entry, which is how I got involved in that. But how did I come to be employed as a programmer? I used to work on this game called Bloopville for BV Studios, which might be known to some of the people watching because it's a somewhat big one in the community. And I worked there as their lead programmer. And I was just I was working there part-time as I was working and doing college. And just as I came out of college, I got a message by the wonderful Gina, who said, "Hey, have you heard of us? We're Tailwind, and we're very cool, and you should come work for us." And I was like, "I like cool things. Do you have room for a wizard?" And yeah, I came on, and I've just finished my probation here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really awesome. And well, how did you like learn to become a magician? You mentioned a little bit that like you were trying to get to like those different like gaming engines like Unreal, but like they were not really that easy to learn on your own. So is it fair to say that like you learned majority of like what you know by yourself, or did you have some help?
Yeah, so I definitely, as I say, I kind of like jumping straight into things and putting up a challenge way bigger than I should be taking on with whatever it is I'm doing, and just trying to figure out a way to make it kind of work in some way. And that's kind of how I got into programming. I would take on like a big challenge. There's something called, I can't remember the name of the person who told me this term, but it's called excited accountability, which is when you set yourself a big challenge and you're accountable to someone for it. And it motivates you to want to kind of learn new things in a very like accelerated pace. And so I join projects and say, okay, I'm going to get this done for you for free, and I'm going to get it done by this time. And that would kind of, I'd have to learn all these new things and new skills to kind of get there in a couple of weeks or in a month. And so that's how I kind of developed my skills over the years, of just putting myself in situations where I need to learn new things and try new things. So kind of every job I have, I've learned new things. So I worked on an MMO for a while on Roblox. And there's just so much I've learned there, especially because it's a lot of narrative. So I learned a lot about not just programming, but you then, because you're a game developer on a fairly small team, you have to learn things about telling stories and filming, and a lot of that with like Bezier curves and stuff which come with programming, object-oriented programming and the rest of it. And that's eventually landed myself here. So yeah, I definitely learned a lot of it myself, but because Roblox is so open, I've had people over the years who've helped me a lot as well. And so I'll kind of, when I was younger, I'd go and I'd kind of nudge someone, go, hey, do you know why this is working badly? How can I make this work better? Can someone check out my code and things like that? So yeah, it's kind of a mix of things.
Well, seeing you, talk about all of that like so passionately, is it like fair to say that programming is your biggest passion, or is there something in your life that you care about nearly as much, or like are you passionate about?
I almost didn't actually take up a career in game development at all. When I was younger, I fell into it kind of completely by mistake. Because I was younger, I was not the kind who had like an expensive computer and I was playing MMOs all day and all night. I think the nearest I had to a computer was a toaster, and maybe like a really bad computer running on like Windows 95, which probably was running on a toaster. So it certainly wasn't predicted. For a long time, even leading up to college, I thought I was going to be a filmmaker. Right up until about a month before I had to choose, that's what I was going to do. And I kind of switched over, and over the last, I'd say 2 or 3 years, I've kind of fell in love a lot more with programming and with game development. And it's just been this kind of perfect mix of kind of creativity and technical challenges. So you wake up every day going, okay, what am I going to have to solve today? And I've really enjoyed it. Plus I get to sit down all the time and drink coffee. And donuts, although I don't drink those. Yeah, but yeah, programming is definitely my biggest thing. I'm also interested in politics and still filmmaking. I'm kind of that annoying guy who has to dissect everything and talks about Wes Anderson way too much. But yeah.
Well, that's like, like that's nice to have like a spectrum of things to be passionate about and to like fall in love with, as you just mentioned. Tell me, like programming wise, what was like the hardest thing that you dealt with as a programmer during like one of the development cycles?
Oh, there's been a lot of things. I think I have to go with, so we were watching obviously RDC, the Roblox Developer Conference has just finished. And there was a Roblox panel of devs who were talking about a very similar question of what was their hardest challenge. And it was an Adopt.Me developer, forgive me, I've forgotten her name, who had the exact same challenge as I did. And it was creating, kind of working with Roblox's physics to create a train system. And that was really challenging because you think it's quite a simple thing. But really with Roblox's whole network ownership system and stuff, it was quite a lot more complex. And over the years, the biggest challenges I've faced have been things which seem relatively simple. So for instance, we had this, on Blutville, we had this completely custom physics system for our cars, and making that work with this different network ownerships and different latencies and stuff was really challenging and really fun. If I were to do it again, I would not do a custom system and be smart about it. I try and do it as simply as possible. And I think we did actually end up doing it, if memory serves, in a more simple way, but we managed to get both working. So I was happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So was that situation that you just described something that you're really proud of how you resolved? Or if you would have to talk about like your biggest pride in terms of like creating, what situation would you mention here?
I think I don't think it is solving these individual problems because you come across them so often that the next one forwards into the previous, and it's kind of all these, it's your job, right? I think the things I'm most proud of are probably the like milestones earlier in my career, even though I'm only 18, but earlier in my career as in like a year ago. So when I wrote or helped write the book on developing games on Roblox, I was really proud of that and seeing the result of it. I was also really proud on getting my first job when it came to game development. So working here has been huge, as well as when I was working on Blutville and the previous projects I've done, kind of just getting a foot on the ladder and learning new things. There's so many different things. I'm afraid I haven't got the one answer for you.
Sophia, tell me, how do you take care of yourself and prevent burnout when your job is something that you very much enjoy doing in your spare life? For context, like now is the week after the RDC took place, and that was like most of the weekend. At Tailwind, we don't work Fridays, so like you on Friday, you know, that was your spare time that you dedicated to when you were like getting familiar with the contents of the conference, right? So how do you balance things out?
I'm gonna pinch an answer that I saw at RDC. And it's something I follow myself. So Boat Bomber, who's created, it's very well known in the community. He's created lots of really cool plugins that we use every day at Tailwind. He said something along the lines of he, in his own time, he doesn't just go outside and go on walks, which is super important, but he works on something he knows he can get done in 1 or 2 days, because Roblox and programming is still his passion. But just working on something new, setting it something small so that you can feel by the end of the week, you feel like you've accomplished something over the weekend, and that you can go out into the next week and not go, oh, I've got this side project that is digging a hole in my pocket, is super important. And so, for example, 2 weeks ago now, I was really interested in UI frameworks. There's a lot of stuff going on in that space right now on Roblox. We've had a lot of talks about things like LTOB's new Fusion framework. And I wanted to get to the bottom of, because we use React at work, I wanted to understand I really want to understand why React works and what's going on under the hood there. And so I decided, okay, this weekend I'm going to recreate a kind of rough prototype of React from the ground up. I'm going to rewrite it. And so at the end of the week, I had a fairly well working, not particularly performant React clone, essentially, aptly named Reactor. And so that was my weekly task, or my weekend task, I should say. And then aside that, I go on walks, and as a company, we have these walking milestone challenges, which motivate you to kind of go outside and show your colleagues who's boss. And I'm losing at that now.
Walking, yeah. Well, but you're challenging yourself, and I think that's really great. And yeah, thank you very much for sharing that insight, because like, well, I think sometimes it's hard to be like passionate and like good at what you're good at, but like at the same time still remember that you're human underneath all of that. And you know, like you can only go so far.
$1 million question: how to look after yourself.
Yeah, how to look after yourself, exactly. All right, now we talked about a lot of serious stuff in like the last few minutes, so we will now go over the lightning trivia round. I'm gonna warn you, a lot of those questions are about food, because like, I don't know, I suppose I'm exposing your controversial food opinions or something, so prepare, you know, for people calling.
The answer is donuts to everything.
All right, so let's begin. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Tangy.
Ketchup goes into a cupboard or into the fridge?
In the fridge. You'd be a madman to do anything else. Yeah.
Texting or calling?
Texting.
What is your junk food of choice?
Oh God, I'm going to expose myself. It's McDonald's, and I don't feel good about it, but it is.
That's all right. Sweet or savory?
Sweet. Savory. Sweet. Yeah.
Baby panda or baby penguin?
Panda, I prefer to meet a baby penguin, I think.
Okay. Baked beans in a separate dish or on a plate with everything else?
Neither. I don't like baked beans.
Okay, you know, that's the controversial opinion, because like we're based in Britain and you have to, you know, like you have to respect your baked beans. All right. And
I respect them. I just don't eat them. That's how much I respect them.
We're almost at the end of our interview, so do let me know if there is any advice you would like to give someone who would like to get into programming both as a passion and professionally.
Yeah, I think Roblox is how I got involved. I think Roblox is a great way because it's so open and democratic, and anyone can get involved at any age. It really is not a disadvantage. It's really purely based on who you are and you know, your skill level and what you're interested in, not, you know, nothing else. And if you want to become a programmer or a developer and you're not yet, I think the greatest thing to go for is probably just make an hobby, because that encapsulates so many different things. You do a bit of art, for instance, at our recent Tailwind Game Jam. We had some new people joining us from off Roblox. So the first thing we all did was make a crazy obby, because it kind of dips into programming, it dips into all these different things. that you're going to have to use as a game developer. And yeah, I don't think there's a better remedy than that for learning to program and become a game developer.
I can attest to that because I was part of our company's game jam. That was the first time when I was creating in the Roblox studio, and man, I think I actually know a lot more, I know more about like game dev more than I did. But yeah, if it wasn't for you making things work, oh damn, like that level would be nowhere near as attractive.
I think you also learn on Roblox when making obbies, is you learn a bit about the community and kind of what makes them tick. Just doing an obby because you understand the kind of memes and the context behind the platform, which I think is invaluable.
That was all the questions I had for Theo today. In the future, I do plan to interview all of my Tailwind colleagues. So if you would like to see interview with a specific team member, do let me know, and also do let me know if you would have any questions for them, and I'll do my best to incorporate them. For today though, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Oh, finally! Ooh.